Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here. My name is Nabila Wekate. I am a Kenyan who recently relocated to Canada. Still a Kenyan, but a Canadian permanent resident. So in this video, I'm just going to tell you guys about the things I wish I knew before moving to Canada and the things that I have learned for the 6 months that I've been in Canada. And before we proceed, say hi to my dear. The intro is really troubling me. I am not so good at doing intros, but we already know. Why am I doing that? Oh my gosh, like it's so hard to create a video as someone who likes to use their hands. Like sometimes I'm talking and someone is like, can you talk without your hands? I have to talk with my hands. I am an African. Because sometimes words like the hands bring the... Oh my gosh. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. We're gonna dive directly into the video. Before we proceed though, I'm going to show you guys the things that are most Canadian in this video. That's why you can see like the red stuff behind me. This is Tim Hortons. I don't know if it's gonna focus here. This is Timbits. I was introduced to Timbits and I just cannot do without Timbits. I already had the donuts. This was brought to me by some of my friends. So I already ate the donuts. We don't have the donuts, but we have the Timbits, and we also have this coffee from Tim Hortons. This is honestly not a commercial, but this is just to tell you guys like some of the things that make me so Canadianized. And of course, my dear. So you guys have already seen my dear. So the first thing about moving to Canada that you have to be very ready for is missing your family. Bro, I miss my family, and my family doesn't mean my mother, my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, and like my siblings. It means even the Kenyan family. I just miss home completely. I miss everything about home. Like I miss, like you are by yourself. I mean, you can have friends, you can have co-workers, you can have like people you go to church with. Like for me, I have like the entire ecclesia here, and we relate and everything. We just relate. The only relation we have is like Christ. Christ, like both of us being siblings of Christ, but beyond that, there's no blood relation. Oh my goodness, I think I'm moving the camera. There's no blood relation, and of course, I'm not gonna lie, there's no way you're gonna feel like it's family when it's not. Like when you're not related by maybe culture, you're not related by blood, there's no way you're gonna feel like you're related, because it's really, really hard. There's things that they think that I don't think. Oh my gosh, kizungu inapotea. Kuna vitu zenye, these things they're used to that I am not used to, and they would be like, why is she not excited for this? I am not excited for that because I have not grown with that. So like our cultures are totally different, and sometimes I just want to be by myself, and maybe they're used to coming together. And that's one thing. I am not sitting a ringa manini. I'm not even trying to be avoidant, but it's just really hard for me to be out there. And sometimes I feel so much alone when I am with people who are with their family and they're where they were born, and they're gonna, you know, crack their jokes and just be comfortable in whatever, but you're not comfortable because you feel like you're left out. You're just missing home. And that one you cannot change because I have already moved here. So I have to learn to live with it, but it's not easy. It doesn't get easy. So I miss my family, and the only way you get to connect with your family is by talking to them. And everyone is like, oh, why do you miss them? Yet this technology, you can talk to them on WhatsApp. I don't talk to my family like that every day because like they're busy people and they also have like things going on. My siblings are all working, and everyone else is working, my parents are busy with whatever they're busy with, and we can't keep talking every day. We have a Bible study call, and it usually happens in the evening, in Kenya, when it is daytime here and I have to be at work. So like there's also time difference and I cannot keep up with them, so it gets really hard. Oh my gosh, I am very emotional at this point. Forget about that. I cannot I cannot control how I feel, but I can literally feel the tears building up as I do this. And that is so funny because yeah, oh my gosh, hata mzizi imeanza kutokea hapa, because like I was gonna cry. I really miss home like badly. This video is not about that. I miss home. I miss speaking my language. I live in North Battleford, and there is no one I have met that told me they were from Kenya. No one. From the time I came here, no one. All the dark-skinned people I've met here told me they were from Nigeria. I've met a Congolese guy. I have met a Zimbabwean, it's giving Zimbabwe. A Zimbabwean guy. I've never met any Kenyans. Nikutane tu na mtu hivi. Nimekutana na Mkongo, tumeongea Kiswahili, but that was just about it. Like, it's so different. Like, Congo is Central Africa. I am from East Africa. It's totally different. And people will be like, oh, you have to come. I was like at work, and there was an event, and there was this black guy. He was a father, like a Catholic priest. So all the guys were like, oh, we like your smile. We want to introduce you to Father whatever. Like, hizo jina za Nigeria pesa kwanga ngumu. We want to introduce you to Father whatever, because he's also from Africa. You know, I don't know so much about Africa, but maybe you guys know each other. So I went to say hello to him, and he's a Nigerian, and there's really nothing to talk about because we are totally different. I've never been to Nigeria. I've never been to West Africa. It's really just so different. Okay, if I keep talking about that, I'm gonna cry, and I do not want to cry on camera. I don't have so much time. So another thing, my hair is so beautiful, so I just keep looking at it and I'm like, yay, they ate. If I lived in a bigger city, like say Toronto, Regina, Edmonton, I could probably meet up with other Kenyans, and that could help me speak my language, that could help me feel at home, and blah, blah, blah. But I live in North Battleford. It's mostly occupied by farmers and like business people, and it's a very small city. So most black people, they wouldn't want to live here. And it's not just black people. Mi sidhani Mkenya anaweza toka Kenya akuje kuishi hapa. No. I don't think people want to relocate and live here because like there's no opportunities, especially for careers in a smaller town. But I am okay because it's my first year and I'm just still trying to see like what's going to happen. Plus, I have my church here and it's easier for me to live here. So, because it's the community that helps me. By help me, I mean spiritually. Yeah, and emotionally. So, I am happy to be here. I'm going to talk about my experience and my very honest experience. I landed in Canada as a permanent resident, and that's a very long story that I am not sure I really want to talk about it. And that was back in 2020. I landed as a permanent resident and I didn't get my permanent residence card until this year. I do not want to show them very closely to the camera, but that's my permanent residence card. So I am a Canadian permanent resident. And this is my identification card. And this is my driver's license. So let's get straight into it. So like as a permanent resident, I am supposed to enjoy all the rights of a Canadian citizen apart from the voting right, the vote to right, the right to vote, which I don't really care about. And that's another long story that I shouldn't just like be jumping into already. So like the very first thing that is very shocking is missing your family, and you're gonna maybe video call them, but it will never feel like sitting and visiting with your family. Hata utake aje, sitting with your people, it's totally different from visiting with them over the phone. You need your family. It's really, really crazy. Like, you will run mad just living by yourself. Like, it's okay for me to live in Nairobi and my family lives in Bungoma, because I just know I can run to Bungoma and see them anytime. But living miles away like I do right now, I don't know when I'm gonna see my family next, and that stresses me out. And it's not cheap to travel back and forth. So it's not cheap, and it's not also an easy trip, because sitting on that plane for 24 hours. Another thing that's very scary, and I should have known before coming to Canada, is how expensive Canada is. Like, I know Canada is expensive. I knew Canada is expensive, but I didn't think it was this expensive. So people are gonna say, what do you mean it's expensive? Yet, like, ukienda huko unapata pesa. How do you pata pesa? You have to work. Let me tell you guys, I have not been to church for 1 month. I have not been to church for 1 month. Why? I have been working. Has my working given me a lot of money? Do I have a lot of money? No. Why do I still have to work on a Sunday? Because I have to live. If I don't work, who's gonna pay for this apartment? It's very, very expensive. Accommodation is expensive. Transportation is expensive. Groceries is expensive. Phone is expensive. Hair is expensive. Let's talk about the hair that I'm wearing right now. I paid, if I'm to put like the traveling expense and the lunch expense and the hair expense, like the entire service expense, I spent $465. I'm not even playing about it. I spent $465, and just to get this braids done, it's like a neat job. I can't even say ati, oh, walinigonga ama nini, but that's expensive. Do you think I earn so much that should just be a drop in the ocean? There's definitely money, but you have to think about the things like, iyo pesa iko tu na kazi. But then there's people who are like back at home wanashanga tu. And when I say back at home, I'm not talking about my household. I'm talking about like generally back in my country. Everyone is gonna be like, oh, now that she lives in Canada, she must have a lot of money. No. The reason I get so stressed is because of bills. Like, my bills are just knocking. My emails every day, it's about, I have to pay power, I have to pay rent, I have to pay for my phone. It's not cheap. And nothing is like under, maybe nothing is under $100. And that's not cheap. So mtu anaweza sema tu, since anaishi huko ako na mapesa. And the minimum wage here is, in Saskatchewan right now, is $15. So say you're working 8 hours. If you do the calculation, when you like calculate $15 times 8 hours times 5, and sometimes you don't even get the entire hours to work, depending on the kind of job that you're doing. So okay, calculate what you earn per month, and then you look at the bills that you have to pay. It's not cheap to live here. It is not anywhere close to cheap. Culture, it's very different. Watu hapa ni wa friendly, wanapenda kukaa, wanaongelea kila kitu. Unaweza kuwa tuna visit mtu anakuambia about dog yake na nini yake. Like, it's very different from us, because we don't really get into like chatting so much with strangers and being open to them and telling them everything that's going on, and that's quite different. And another thing, I really struggle, especially at work. Like, they expect you to speak up and say, oh, okay, so what's going on? Sometimes I'm really struggling because I'm homesick, and I'm also struggling with like different things at work, but I can't speak up. Me too niko hivyo. Like, I can't talk about it. I can probably rant it to my sister, but I can't tell it to anyone just because you're my boss. Now I'm going to tell you what's going on. So hata nikiambiwa kuja hapa, we need to talk, niko like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? Because I don't know what to say. Because mimi vile niko, I like to be in my own space. I like to be like just in my house by myself. And that is what works up my mental state. I do not have any friends. I've been here for 6 months. And when I tell you guys, I do not have any friends, I mean it. I do not have any friends. Most of the guys in my church are older, like they're my parents' age. They are very good people, but I can't say I hang out with them. By hang out, I don't mean that going to party, amani, but just hang out, just sit. What are we going to be talking about? Like me, I have some things to talk about. I have like girl stuff to talk about. I just have like general things to talk about, but I don't have those friends that I can sit with and talk with. So it's a wild struggle. I want to sit with my brothers and sisters and talk about Jesus, but I also have life going on and I don't have anyone to talk to about it. And even if we were to talk about anything, our cultures are totally different. And what they think is just easy, to me, is not easy. And they might be like, why is she acting up? Why doesn't she just, like, she's an adult, see her behave? But yeah, another thing, yeah, just like I've said, I struggle to make friends. Some of us, we are not so used to being out there all the time and going out and whatever. I like to be in my house, so it's really hard for me to make friends. And I'm not going to jump on any dating site. No, people say, oh, just jump on those dating sites and try to make friends. I'm not trying to do that. There's a lot of creepy people in the world right now. So you do not want to join a dating site and start talking to different people, because it's definitely might not end very well. So I like to meet friends naturally, and I'm not meeting any friends because my life is just getting up, getting ready for work, going to work, coming back to my house, going to work, coming back to my house, going to work, coming back to my house. There's really no life in between. And as I've told you guys, I've not even been going to church because I've been scheduled to work on Sundays. So, and I cannot say no because I also need money. Na hakuna mali nitatoa pesa kama si kuenda kazini. I don't know anyone who is gonna give me money, who is gonna deal with my bills. That only person is me. And then work, I feel like if you know people, it makes it like both jobs that I got, I didn't really have to apply so much. I met people who employed me, and so I didn't, like the apartment I'm living in, when I was hunting for this apartment, that's when I got the job, because my then manager also managed this apartment. So that's how I ended up getting this job. And my second job, I also got it from house hunting. When I was house hunting, I met a guy who was a manager of some apartments, and he also owned some businesses in town. So he hired me. So it's really hard to find people who have the same interests as you, and that's why it really gets really hard. And as I told you, this town doesn't have like a lot of young people. It has mostly older people. Like for example, when I hang out with my Canadian friends, their music taste is gonna be totally different from me. Mimi sinataka muweke vitu zenye mtu anasikia kudance. Hawa labda vitu zao za kudance ni zile kudance za kufanya hivi. Na mimi sasa hizo sizijui. So unaona, it's really hard. Another very important thing, food. Another depressing thing, my fridge, if I show you guys, it's very empty. I don't know what to buy, and I don't know what is good, and I don't know how to cook most of their things. when I say there are things, like of course mindo niko kwao, but I don't know how to cook most of the things here because I am used to the foods back at home. I should have brought food with myself. I only brought spices. I should have brought unga. I should have brought, of course there's rice. Ningekwata nimekuja na some dried things but from back home. No, more spices zenye zinanisaidia ku have at least the taste of home. I struggle with the food and I don't eat. Unajua mnaweza sema you don't eat and you're big. Because it's so funny. Sometimes when you're stressed, you start putting on weight. So it's not necessarily because I eat. So I don't eat, and when I eat, I'm always eating fries. That's all I eat. I eat poutine. I wanted to show you guys poutine. I think I'm gonna insert a video or something if I find poutine before I post this video. I wanted to show you guys poutine. It's one of my favorite things. It's like fries, and then they put gravy on top, and then they put cheese on top, and that's it. Like, I love poutine. I was introduced by Zara, who is my sister in Christ and also my friend. She's from the UK, and so we wanted to do like videos of us going around and trying different poutines from different restaurants, but we haven't even gotten a chance because it's crazy how people are so busy here. You don't even get time to be visiting. So I want to try, me and Zara want to do that, but I wanted to show you guys poutine. I wanted to have poutine here as we do this video, but I didn't find it. When I went to Tim Hortons, I googled first to see if Tim Hortons has poutine. They said they have poutine. When I got there, they said they didn't have poutine. So I was like, who is lying? Are they lying or Google is lying? I struggle with the food. It's insane. It depresses me because I cannot cook. Because I don't know what to cook, I don't know what to find. So it just depresses me a good one. I only eat when I go to work, and I only eat one meal a day. That contributes to my stress and my depression. Okay, another thing is the weather. My skin is very itchy right now because of, I don't know if it's the humidity or how dry the air is. When I just get outside my house, my skin starts to itch. So I have to like put layers and layers of Vaseline, alafu nichanganye na hata sitaki kupaka lotion because pia lotion itafanya tu ni itch. Nafaa nipake oils like Vaseline na niongeze coconut oil na whatever. I have to like have very thick layers of oil for my skin not to itch. Otherwise, it's like, especially up hivi kwa my back, it's usually very dry. And like between my thighs, it's very dry and it's very itchy. So the weather is crazy and it's really scaring me. Mostly, I should have known better that it's more expensive than I thought. So I should have had a lot of money before deciding to move to Canada. Because mostly the stress is, like whatever contributes to the stress is money. Kama hauna pesa mingi, unaenda kuhangaika. Because you need like a lot of savings. If you plan to move to Canada, you need to have like a lot of savings. Have lots of money with you for the first few months. For you to get accommodation, unafaa kukuwa na pesa ya kutosha ya kupata nyumba. Then ukuwe na pesa ya bills, ukuwe na vile unaenda kulipia simu yako, vile unaenda kulipia kila kitu. Like you need to have that first before coming here. Don't just come and say, I will just get a job and start living. You will never rest. Because uko unafanya kazi kila siku, na bado hata the money is not making sense because you're just out there paying bills and bills and bills and bills. So that's mostly it. I don't have so much to say. It's all over the place just to show you guys some of the struggles I'm having. I'm struggling, just to recap, I'm struggling with making friends. I'm struggling with the culture. I'm struggling with the food. I'm struggling with the weather. And I am struggling with the bills. These are struggles that are not gonna end. So, like, do I want to move back home or I don't know. I probably just want to go back home because it's so expensive. It's so hard. It's expensive, it's hard, it's lonely, it's so lonely. Naonanga watu wako Canada wako na marafiki zao wanaenda out. Mimi sijaikuwa na rafiki. Vile mnaniona hivi nimekuwa hapa miezi 6. I've not had any friends. Like, the only friends I have is my colleagues because I'm just at work and at home. At work and at home, and maybe my church community. Period. That's all I have. Like, sinati watu wenye. I don't know if you guys get it. I'm so confused. I hope this video makes sense. Oh my gosh. I'm so stressed. And I filmed this video when I was in the middle of a crisis. I'm going through a very depressive phase right now. I am stressed about so much that I can't say on video. And I am also just recovering from a very bad cold. And so I'm just recovering, and pia at the same time natry kudeal na maisha na inani knock tu hivi, inanifanya tu hivi. So if this video is all over the place, guys, please bear with me. Okay? If it's all over the place, please bear with me and let me know what I can do better. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for sticking by hadi mwisho. So I'm gonna bring my dear to tell you guys bye. Bye guys. Yeah. So me and my dear are so thankful for you guys. Thank you guys for sticking by. Thanks so much for watching.